This session is a squat flow. So if you're looking to just have a go at squats or improve your squatting position, this might be a really good practice for you. It's going to be quite short, but it will be quite fatiguing if you're not used to the positions. All right, so we're going to start off, and we're going to start off in what we would call a good morning. So this is really working our spine area. So trying to keep that tight position. So I've got a side profile to you. Got my feet hip width apart. I've got a nice posture here. I'm engaging my glutes, throwing my hips forward. So I'm in a nice tall position. I'm going to put my hands on my hips. And as I exhale, I'm going to bend my knees slightly, hinge from the hips all the way, keeping my spine as aligned as I can. You will have a natural curve in there, but really trying to hinge forward, sticking that bottom out, and then slowly coming back up again. As you come back up, grip the mat with your floor, with your feet. So you want your big toe, your little toe, and your heel all gripping the mat. Same again. Nice and slowly. Keep your breath throughout. Maybe a little bit deeper here. Slowly coming up. It's a coming up from that deep position that can be quite hard. Last time. Really engaging here, squeezing that pelvic floor, keeping those shoulders nice and low. Slowly coming up, gripping the floor as you come up. Good. Taking your right foot out in front of you, taking both your hands out in front of you, and then opening up in a nice diagonal position. I know it seems a bit funny. So what you want is your arms out 90 degrees to your torso. So I've got my right leg out in front of me. I'm going to bend my right knee. As I bend my right knee, I'm going to slowly rotate my torso down towards my right foot. So from here, I'm really trying to keep that torso nice and long. If your arms are out, it's going to be a bit problematic. Just bring them close to your body and take them down into a nice windmill position for 3, for 2, for 1. Keep that torso nice and tight all the way up to a nice standing position. Switch sides. If you're feeling lightheaded when you come up, just make sure that you take your time coming up. Maybe hover at 90 degrees. All right, so I've got my left foot out in front of me now. I'm going to take my arms out wide. I'm going to twist my body, bend that left knee, and slowly drive my right hip back as I move into this windmill position. Holding for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly coming up, dropping those arms. Good. Coming into a nice shoulder width stance at the top of the mat. We're going to come up onto our toes if we can, balancing for 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to drop back down again, and then we're going to do the same again to try and keep that control in that ankle area. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Slowly dropping those heels, bending those knees, taking your hands down towards the mat, and this time working on the dorsiflexion of our feet for the position. So we're going to bend our knees slightly, tuck our toes, and really push our bottom back towards our heels, trying to drive the sole of our foot upright, but whilst we drop back. So you can see I've got a nice ankle flexion here. So I'm trying to bring my toes towards my shin, drop my heels for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly walking those hands back, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping the chin tucked into the chest, lengthening out the legs when you feel comfortable to do so. Slowly coming up into a nice standing position, palms facing towards the front of the room. Go shaking out those legs. Right. Are you ready? So we're going to take our feet shoulder width apart, or maybe a little bit wider if that's more comfortable. Our toes, ideally, are not going to be too wide out. They're probably going to be between maybe 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Popping our hands in center, or we can pop them on hips. We're slowly going to squat down. So you can see from a front profile, I'm squatting my bottom down, and my knees are over my toes or in line with my ankles. So I'm in this position here. So do it from the side profile. You might need to widen your stance if this is really hard, you find your knees knocking in. You can see my back is nicely aligned here. Once I get down to the deep position, or a position that I can get to, I'm going to really try and work on getting that torso up tall. If you're finding it really hard and you're here, don't worry, just find yourself a wall, hold on to the wall, just try and maneuver down. That might be to do with your hip flexion or hip mobility or your ankle mobility. So it could be either. If it is, then probably just watch one of my videos on either hip openers or dorsiflexion or ankle mobility. So we're in this nice position here. And from here, we're just going to move from side to side. Notice how I'm not rounding the back. You might have to round the back if you're in a deep position and your mobility is a little bit stuck here. Otherwise, try and sit upright. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep breathing. And just move from side to side. So just going to move from side to side for 3, for 2, for 1. From here, I'm just going to place my hand down in the center of the mat. I'm going to lift my left arm up towards the ceiling, noticing what my left knee is doing. If it's tracking in, I might just move my left leg in just a little bit. For 3, for 2, keep breathing. For 1. Good. Switching sides. If you need a break, just come out of it, waggle your legs, shake your legs out, and then get back into it. Other side, otherwise we're going to go with the other side. So around towards the right hand side of the room, left hand in the center of the mat. For 3, keep breathing, nice and slow. For 2, for 1. Good. Grabbing hold of your feet or your shins, slowly lifting your bottom up towards the ceiling. Lifting up nice and tall, lengthening out those knees, dropping your torso down towards the floor, letting your head relax. Staying here for 3, feeling a nice pull on your hamstrings. For 2, for 1. Holding onto your feet or your shins, slowly maneuvering yourself down into that nice squat position. From here, we're going to place our hands on our shoulders. We're going to lift our torso up, keep our elbows nice and tall. I'm going to stand up as if we're being pulled from the crown of the head, dropping our shoulders, rolling out those shoulders. Good. Shaking out those legs, taking those feet now nice and wide. As we come down into what we call a goddess squat or a prisoner squat, depending on where our arms are, try and keep your knees, where possible, tracking over the toes. It will come in slightly, and that's fine, but just be mindful of it. And you don't want to cause too much of that internal rotation. You can sort of hurt your knee a little bit. Right. So when you're ready, coming down into a nice goddess squat, you might find that you don't get very far. So for me, I'm into this position. Nice upright torso. Again, if you're hinging over and your bottom's out behind you, it might be a matter of your dorsiflexion here. Otherwise, just try and drive those knees over the top. Standing up. We're going to do that twice more. So feet nice and wide. Adjust your feet if you need to. Narrow, wider. Slowly coming down. From here, we're just going to move from side to side for 3, for 2, for 1. Finding some stillness before you drive upwards. Shaking those legs out. Last time we're going to have our arms out, prisoner position. So when you're ready, dropping down, making sure those knees are nice and wide. You've got control here. So squeezing your pelvic floor for 3. Keep that chest upright. Keep breathing. For 2, for 1. Slowly standing up, releasing those hands, heel toeing those feet in, shaking those legs out. Now we come on to a bit more of a challenging position. So we're going to bring our feet nice and close. You might find that you need to come up onto your tiptoes. That's fine, but you'll then have to sort of be challenged, or you will be then challenged on your balance. But whichever position you feel you can do. So I'm going to bring my feet right in together, but you might want a little bit of a gap here. And as I go down, I'm going to bring my body forwards, and your body will have to go forwards here because you don't have a huge amount of room in the hips as your hips are right together. So dropping down into a nice deep squat. See how far you can go. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly trying to stand up. Crown of the head being dragged out, top first. Standing up. Next one. This time we are going to try and go onto our toes. Trying to control this movement. You'll see my legs are wobbling a little bit. Drive those knees in together if that's comfortable. You might want a little bit of a gap between them. Dropping down should be a bit easier. It's going to work on your balance, your strength and your stability. For 3, for 2, for 1. Standing up from the crown of your head, driving up with control, squeezing those legs, dropping down. Good. Shaking out. We've got one last one to do. So bring those feet in together. Taking those hands out in front. You can flip your palms as if you're having to hold something. And again, try not to let those arms go down. And you'll let those arms go down when your torso, when your chest starts to curve. So I'm going to go onto my tiptoes for this. I'm going to really focus on engaging my upper part of my body, which in turn is going to engage the whole of my core chain. Keeping upright, keeping breathing, holding this position at the bottom for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly standing up with control. Imagine you've got 2 very delicate things in your hands. For 2, for 1. Slowly relaxing down. Good. From here, just shake out those legs. And then we'll just finish up there. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that squat session. If your squat isn't as low as what you would like it to be, that's fine. It will just take time for that mobility to be developed. And often it's a matter of working on that ankle dorsiflexion, so the angle between your shin and the top of your foot, or the hip mobility. But you might find that you've got that mobility just when you have stability. So before you work on any of those areas, just check yourself against the wall. So if you can hold on to a wall and get yourself into a really deep squat, then actually it's more about stability than maybe mobility. But we can go into that in another video. Thank you so much for your time and see you on the next. Bye.